on my way now. I'm on my way now. I'm on my way now.
Welcome back to Cabarete here in the north coast of the Dominican Republic. Today we are very excited to make a video we've been talking about for a long time.
So you guys would not believe the amount of people that we meet pretty much every day that are either moving here now or they plan to do so in the future, either by buying or literally selling everything coming down here to rent. Like, this happens all the time. So for those of you that watch us regularly, you know how much we absolutely love this area. We came down here for the very first time a couple of years ago and just fell in love, and now it's one of our favorite places on the entire planet. We've been to a lot of places, but throughout the course of this video, we're going to be talking about what makes this area of the Dominican Republic oh so special.
So I think the first thing we'll touch on is the very obvious one, the absolute sheer beauty of the Dominican Republic. I mean, look at these beaches, you guys. We are pretty much on the beach every single day. That's the beauty about Cabarete. You can get to this beach whenever you want. Of course, this is not the only beach here on the north coast. We'll talk about that a little more as we go, but yeah, we are outside every single day and we absolutely love it, especially when you get to be on a beach like this.
Of course, going hand in hand with spending so much time here on the beach is the weather, because you know, if it was snowing here, we probably wouldn't be on the beach all the time. It never snows here, haha, of course it doesn't. Once in a while it does rain, but it's pretty rare, and it's also even more rare to get like a full-on rainy day. It might rain for an hour or two, and then it gets nice again. Once in a while you get a full cloudy day, but it's so rare. So even on the bad days, we're always here on the beach.
There's also some kind of stat that's like there's over 300 days of sunshine here in the north coast.
Yeah,
it's
so
absolutely
a good
crazy.
part of the year it's sunny.
Let's talk about temperatures real quick. I know you guys are wondering, like, how hot can it get in the winter months? We're talking Canadian and American winter months, so like December, January. On average, it's something like what, 26 degrees Celsius to anywhere around 30 depending on the day.
Yeah, I'd say 28 is probably like the average temperature in the winter time, something like that. It's very, very pleasant, warm, but not like super duper hot.
We're talking Celsius here, so all you Americans will have to figure out the metric for Fahrenheit. But this time of year, which is April, it can get a lot hotter. Like a cold, cool day can be something like 28 degrees, but it can get into like 33, 34, and with humidity, it can feel like something like 36 to 40. So it can get hot. Let's try to define what is the north coast of the Dominican Republic here. Like, what areas are considered the north? Now, obviously, people will say the whole north of the country is the north coast. But people that live here, Dominicans and expats, it's kind of a different area for the people that are here full time. We talked to a bunch of different people and they kind of agreed with what we say is the north coast, like the nickname North Coast of the DR, like the shirt I have on. It's somewhere, we kind of define it as anywhere from Playa Grande all the way over west to Puerto Plata. So it's in between there, but the center of it, at least to us, feels like it's somewhere right around here in Cabarete. Now, a lot of you watching from Los Terranos will say we're in the north coast. I actually put Los Terranos in its own category out there in Samana on the peninsula. Los Terranos is just a special, unique place on its own. It's absolutely beautiful. So I don't clump it in there. To me, it feels like a whole different area. But we did ask other people and they kind of agreed with us. Let us know what you guys think. We'd be very, very curious.
And Trevor just also left out Cabrera, which is past Playa Grande. I think it's one of those up-and-coming type places. Some people think it's going to be the next Cabarete. We'll see about that. I don't know. Other people might argue that Nagua should also be included in the North Coast. In terms of, when we talk about North Coast, we're kind of talking like a vibe here as well as just a geographical area. But one thing we also didn't talk about when we're talking about the weather is the wind. Something we love about Cabarete and the North Coast in general. There's usually a really good wind. So even when it does get super hot, it kind of keeps you cool, and I love that. And of course, it allows people to do the wind sports that are so famous here, like kite surfing and windsurfing.
So we're talking about all these different communities here, and the goal today is to show you guys a couple of them, because you're going to be surprised. They're not all just condos, there's lots of villas around as well. We're also a little bit hungry, so we have an idea. We're going to take you to a community and get something to eat. Well, welcome to Maria's. This place is absolutely beautiful. The views here with the pool and the ocean, you have the waves hitting the rocks. It's unbelievable. Now, we're actually in Sosua, but Maria's is in Ocean Village, which is a community here. So we are going to try to show you a little bit of the community. It's a gated community. We'll do what we can, but we do want you guys to see like what you can get here. There's lots of villas, for example, if that's what you're looking for. You also notice this very tall beer in front of me. It's a craft beer. We just found out they have 2-for-1 craft beer here today. It's a Pilsner. I know you guys like when we try this stuff. I'll try it quickly. Yeah, it's gonna do the trick today, especially when we're outside here with this crazy view.
Speaking of outdoors, one of the big appeals for us of living in the Caribbean in general is outdoor living. We are outside all the time. A good portion of our day is spent outside. Basically, when we're not working or sleeping, we're generally outside. When you go eat in a restaurant, I can't even think of a restaurant that has like an enclosed area. Even if you're like covered, you're still outdoors, and I love that. We're outside all the time, and it's really good, honestly, on mental health in general. We find, you know, in the wintertime when you're home in Canada, which thankfully we haven't done in a long time and have no plans of doing in the near future, it can get so mentally draining just to see it be cold and dreary and maybe snowy. Even in the summertime that can happen too, and we just find when you're not outside, when you're stuck inside all the time, it can be really tough.
All right, the food has arrived here. We actually got some croquettes, and there's some manchego cheese in here, and I believe some prosciutto, and there's aioli as well. The DR really knows how to do these things. Let's give it a try. You guys, look at the inside of this thing. The cheese is just oozing right out of it. You can taste the little bits of prosciutto, but there's not a whole lot. But the cheese is like a really sharp taste. It's smooth, really pleasant to eat, and also it's nice and crispy on the top. Absolutely love croquettes when I have them. And honestly, they get better and better here the more we have them in the DR.
This is honestly our first time here, and the menu is really, really good. It was hard to decide, so we opted to get a couple of like more starter sharing things to try a couple of things. So this one is chicken flotas. I think flotas are typically like a tortilla, a corn tortilla, I believe, rolled up. There's chicken on the inside, and then I think it's deep fried, and you get some cheese on the top and some sauces on the side. Ooh, yeah. You hear the crunch of that as my fork goes through there?
Wow.
Try it with some guac. Okay, based on these two dishes, I'm gonna say the food here is really, really good. This is like upscale dining, but they've got a great menu. I really, really like these. These are delicious. It's not that easy to find a lot of Mexican food around here, so it was fun to find it on the menu. I love Mexican food. There's really nice flavors going on in here. I will add some hot sauce, I believe, because you guys know how much I love hot sauce. So a little bit of spice would be perfection, but there's a lovely little crunch, and I love the sauces on the side. So good.
That was so good, you guys. So delicious. I can't believe it's the first time we ate at this restaurant. But the thing is about the food here, I know today we did not have Dominican food, but just know that of course you can get Dominican food in so many different places. But the whole thing about the North Coast is you can get any kind of food you want around here.
Yeah, and that's really important to us, especially when we're somewhere for a long time, which obviously we've been here for months and months and months. We really want places that have a wide variety of foods, because you know it can get boring to eat the same thing every day. We always try to eat different stuff all the time, so that's really important to us, and we love this area because you can pretty much get everything. So while we're here inside Ocean Village, let's talk about the variety of places that you can live down here, because people come down here and buy various types of places, and I think Ocean Village is mainly villas. There's some really, really, I think, amazing villas in here. I've never really like explored. It's very gated in here, so I think there's a lot of security. So I've never really like driven through and explored it, but I think there's loads and loads of villas. There might be a condo buildings in here as well, and it reaches down to the water, like there's water on one side, maybe on the other side as well. So throughout Sosua, you're gonna find more areas that have villas, and then when you get closer to Cabarete, you can still find villas, but it's a little bit more condo-centric, I guess. But really the point of this is that you can find whatever you're looking for in terms of a place you might want to live in.
So you guys might think like it's mainly retirees down here. That's who's living in these places, or they come down for maybe 6 months a year. It's not, actually. There are young families here as well, because there are some amazing international schools. There's 2 international schools right here in Sosua. So we meet families all the time with little kids, and they're just raising them here. So that's the beauty of the North Coast. It's pretty fascinating. We had no idea that this was happening down here. You know, we always just thought like the DR is Punta Cana, and well, it's a little more than that, isn't it?
Speaking of Punta Cana, let's maybe talk about that for a little bit, because I know a lot of people are interested in moving there as well. We get a lot of messages from people saying they've either bought a place or they're thinking about it. We've only spent a little bit of time there in terms of getting off of resorts. Obviously, Punta Cana is very famous for its all-inclusive resort, so we spent a little bit of time off there, and there seems to be a little bit of a community, but not in the same way that you get here, at least not that we've discovered. This seems to be the place you want to come if you really want to, you know, get involved in the community, meet a lot of people, really feel like you're part of something here. In Punta Cana, the resorts are over there, and there's some amazing resorts, and we kind of enjoy that it's there because it's basically a distraction for the people that want that kind of life or that want that kind of, you know, experience or vacation. And then for here, it's a little bit more for the adventurous, might we say?
We always say it's kind of like if you think of Cancun, Mexico. Like everybody goes to Cancun, but within 2 hours of Cancun, there's so many different great towns, right?
Yeah, so it keeps it a little bit quieter here, which is nice.
Well, we just came over to another neighborhood here called Perla Marina. We wanted to show you guys kind of the variety of the homes that you can get here. This is another gated community, and as you can see behind me, you might notice these signs. There's developments popping up all over the place. You're going to see construction like everywhere when you're in this little area. As I'm sitting here editing this video, I just realized that we didn't tell you guys on the other end here of the screen that we do have a realtor that we can recommend you to if you're thinking about buying a property here in Cabarete and Sosua. Down below in the description area, maybe in the pinned comment area, we'll leave a link to the form so you can fill that out.
So gated communities are really, really common around here. Obviously, if you're moving here to a foreign country, you might have concerns about safety. So most of the places that you find that people are moving to are in fact gated. Like this one here in Perla Marina, you're gonna find a mixture of a lot of different villas, but also like a lot of new buildings and big condos going up as well.
Yeah, right here is another building, so there's some heavy construction happening. It looks like it's going to be nice, called La Perla. And then over here we have homes, so it really is kind of a mix.
Yeah, and you guys might be wondering like who actually is moving here as well, and I would say literally everybody. Obviously a ton of Canadians, a ton of Americans, but lots of Europeans, from Germans, there's Russians, and people from all over the world. You're also going to get people like Dominicans as well, moving just from other parts of the country, wanting to be closer to the beach.
If you guys watched our last video, we were in Los Terranes wondering if we should move there. So now I'm sure you guys are probably curious just about us, what we're trying to do. When we say move, I should already say, we do already live here, but we're renting, but we've been thinking about buying something. We've said this many times now, and here we are back in Cabarete now. So you're gonna have to stay tuned because, to be completely honest, we don't know what we're gonna do, but it's a good situation to be in. All we know is every time we're in Cabarete, we keep talking about how much we love this place.
We're back to one of these beautiful, endless beaches. When we do these videos, especially in Cabarete, a lot of the time we're in like Cabarete Beach or Sosua Beach, the beaches that are a lot more developed, but in this area you can in fact get some empty beaches that you can have to yourself. It's not quite like Los Terranes. It's a little rougher, might we say. I don't know if I'd want to go swimming in there, but there are days that it gets quite a bit calmer than this.
So you can literally walk these beaches for miles and miles and miles. They honestly don't seem to end in both ways. I know before I said we think kind of this whole North Coast slang, the north of the DR, kind of stretches from Puerto Plata all the way up to around like Cabrera, Playa Grande, something like that. There are beaches like this everywhere, and most of them are empty. It is wild. We still can't believe it. But speaking of beaches, maybe we'll list off, because if some of you are watching, you're probably wondering like what are some of the best beaches around here in the North Coast, and we're going to try to name a few now. All right, so favorite beaches, where do we even start?
Well, Cabarete Beach, obviously, we were already there.
Yeah.
Some days it's a little too rough, but most of the time it's relatively, not calm, but you can usually go swimming in it.
Yeah, a lot of people swim there. The thing about Cabarete Beach is it's known for all the restaurants and all the, you can eat like right in the sand. The tables are in the sand is what I'm trying to say. So Cabarete Beach is definitely one of the best beaches, but if we're talking just like pure, beautiful nature, I would say it's not the most beautiful. I'm gonna go all the way over for a second to Playa Grande. You guys heard us say that. We have a video on that place as well. Yeah. And the next one I'm gonna name is Playa Caleton.
Yeah, those are two of the definitely the best beaches on the North Coast in general. They're absolutely stunning. You can swim there, they're like tropical. And also Playa Sosua is pretty nice too if you're wanting something, don't want to drive too far. It's just, you know, 20 minutes from Cabarete.
Yeah, Sosua,
it's right in town in Sosua.
Playa Sosua, if you can hook it on a day where the water's not too rough, it's a different kind of rough. Sometimes it's swirling around a lot, but we've been there when it's just flat, and it's absolutely beautiful and convenient. It's right in town. The other beach we heard really good things about was Playa Dorado, and we've never been up there.
Never
though.
been there. Yeah, we haven't spent any time at any of the beaches in Puerto Plata, like in the city.
If you guys have a favorite beach, let us know, because we know for sure we're missing some. So
Oh, yeah.
if you have one, drop it in the comments. We've come over to a different part of the beach. It's basically where we were just standing, but right up from the beach is this little place.
Yeah, I don't even know what this area is called. We're basically just outside of Kite Beach, like if you're on the way to Encuentro, but it's just a couple minutes from Kite Beach. That's where we just were. You could see all the kites off of Kite Beach. And I've never really been over here, but there's a bunch of little huts with like different restaurants.
Yeah, look at this. So you got this place here. It's super cute, right by the beach as well. And then you got this place, which I think we're gonna check out.
Yeah, that's why we are here. Welcome to Barrel Brew Company. We actually had no idea that this place existed. I don't know how long it's been here, but a subscriber told us about it, and he like kind of tried to point us on Google Maps where it was, and we found it. I'm so excited. So, how interesting is this? We found two new craft beers today in one video. So over in Sosua, there is another craft beer place that we have put in videos before. I think it's called North Coast Brewing. But I'm so excited to find more craft beer, that one in Ocean Village, and now this, Barrel Brewing. I think they had 3 beers on tap, something like that.
You're gonna have to try it out, see how it is.
This is a golden ale.
Golden ale at that. Like, you don't get golden ales too often.
Oh wow. Citrusy, fruity, super fresh, not too heavy, perfect for hot weather like this. Sometimes I find we go to places to get craft beer in hot weather, and sometimes they just have like porters and stouts, and you're like, that's not hot weather beer. This is perfect.
So this is one of the things we absolutely love about the North Coast. We keep finding these little gems like this because the area is so big. Like, it's not just Cabarete. You're gonna find new surprises all the time. The other thing I wanted to mention is affordability. So we're switching gears here, and we're just talking about like the cost of living in the Dominican Republic. Now, we do have older videos on the cost of living where we break down prices. We're talking about grocery store items, but today we'll just kind of talk about it a little bit in general terms, let's say that. Overall, if I'm comparing it to where we're from in Canada, especially right now where the cost of living in Canada just skyrocketed. It's very expensive to live there. Here we find on average it's about 30% of the cost of living in Canada. Depending on where you go, if you go to a high-end restaurant, it might be 50%, but even like with your rent, it's just a lot lower here. Now, I know a lot of you people that are watching that come here every year, you'll say, well, the prices are going up, like each year they go up. Well, that's happening all across the world. I mean, last year we did actually travel the entire globe. I think we visited about 10 countries, and what we found when we talked to locals was the same thing. The costs were going up in Thailand, the costs were going up in Greece, and when we got back here it was exactly the same thing. So sure, the prices are higher, but they're nowhere near the cost of our home country, which is Canada, and that's highly appealing to us. That's what makes the whole DR very appealing in general, and then when you kind of filter down and you get to the North Coast where we are right now, it just makes it special.
Another big thing here for us that we find really important is actually the location of the airport. It's only about a 30-minute drive from Cabarete, about 20-minute drive from Sosua. It's so close. The Puerto Plata airport has a lot of flights, a lot going to Canada, like Toronto and Montreal. There are seasonal flights to Halifax, which is where we're from, and a lot of different flights that go to the US too. So if we ever had to get home in a pinch, it's nice knowing that the airport's literally right there and we could get a flight the next day if we had to. There's also the Santiago airport. Santiago is the second biggest city here in the Dominican Republic, so that's a major airport, and it's only about an hour or an hour and a half drive away. So it's nice knowing there are some major options like that. When we were over in Asia, I mean, we love Asia. It's one of our favorite locations in the world, especially Southeast Asia. It's very affordable there as well. But one of the major drawbacks is that if we ever had to get home, it's just very expensive and very long to get back to Canada.
Well, some people are having fun over there.
Yeah, definitely a rowdy crowd.
There's like, if you guys are wondering, it's the guy's having the time of his life.
Yes.
He loves this place too. So of course, not everything is perfect here in the Dominican Republic on the North Coast. You probably just saw some trash while Hannah's walking here, and there's trash behind me right now. So that's kind of one of the big drawbacks. Garbage is an issue.
It is, but I will say it's starting to get better, even from like 2 years ago. There are some improvements that we're seeing, so hopefully in 10 years time it'll be drastically different, but we definitely have some trash issues right now.
Yeah, now we also have to point out, I know a lot of people come down here from like Canada or the States or something like that. They get to this country for the very first time, and it might be the first time they're ever in like a developing country. This kind of garbage problem that's happening here, it happens in all the other countries.
Yes.
Like, you'll see it in Thailand, you'll see
Absolutely.
it in Vietnam, and wherever you're going. usually you're gonna find that. I think with time, maybe in the next decade or two, this will start to be cleared up. It's all fixed with education, of course, and I think there's
yeah, it's coming along slowly, but I think it's going to happen. Another thing to be aware of that a lot of people don't realize is that it can be quite loud here. It's definitely a cultural thing to be loud, to talk loudly, to play music loudly, to have loud cars and motos. So just be aware of that. If you're really sensitive to sounds, you're gonna have maybe a hard time or need to be in a quieter area.
And driving. So that's the one we have to bring up. A lot of you guys will know that driving in the Dominican Republic is quite something. Like to do it for the first time, it's a lot. To be on the roads if you're coming again from a place like the United States or Canada, it's a lot to take in for the first time. We've been here now for so long that we're completely used to it and it feels normal. I've said this before and it sounds funny. When we go back to Canada and drive, it just feels so calm and tame. To
actually abide by rules, whereas here people just kind of create lanes wherever they want to, they pass people, there's a lot of motorcycles that weave in and out of traffic, so you just have to be very alert and very cognizant of what's happening around you.
Yeah, there is some stats that the DR is one of the worst driving countries in the world. I know some people say it is the worst for fatalities, but I think that Lebanon might beat them, I guess, for lack of a better word there. So it's just, driving's a bit crazy. It's just something, it's the price of being here. You do get used to it. If you just drive carefully, go with the flow, and don't do anything crazy, and really keep your head on a swivel for the motorbikes, you'll be fine. And of course, last up on the list, we cannot talk about the good old DR, not mention the Dominican people. They're one of our favorite things about this place. They are the nicest people in the world. They're very welcoming, and we know a lot of Dominicans. They help us with our broken Spanish, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, they will literally help you with anything. We've heard so many stories of people breaking down on the side of the highway, getting flat tires, all of this stuff happening, and people will just come help you out, do whatever they can to make sure you're like safe and happy and doing well. So nice.
So if you are wondering that, just know that you're going to be welcomed here if you're thinking about moving, because I know a lot of you watching the video are going to be really thinking about moving down here, and that's one of the best parts. So I hope the video today really kind of helped all you guys that are either thinking about it, or if you already live here anyway and you're just kind of validating it. Hopefully we did a good job.
Or you're just wondering, why on earth is the Dominican Republic so popular, and why are so many people coming here? Well, we maybe answered it a little bit for you.
Yeah, we felt a lot of pressure to make this video, honestly, because it's hard for us to sum up to our family and friends like why we love this place so much. And it's kind of all the reasons we're saying, but of course the only way to truly experience it is to be here for a while. Even if you come down for a week vacation, it's not enough time to really get like the gist of it.
Because we talk about the vibe and the community all the time, but you don't really get that, you don't really understand it until you're here in person.
No, I know. So if you guys got this far in the video, I don't believe we said our names yet. It's Trevor and Anna, Delightful Travelers. Thank you for tuning in. Hit subscribe, leave us a comment, hit the join button if you want to join the channel, all the things, share the video. It's a free way to help us out if you like to sit down and watch your videos each and every Sunday. I know we appreciate you guys watching. Don't think that's ever lost on us. We wouldn't make these videos if you weren't watching.
All right, guys, that's it.
From the North Coast of the DR, wishing you delightful travels.
See you soon.